Imagine you're swimming in the crystal clear waters of the Caribbean, when suddenly you spot something strange moving under the waves. Your heart races as you catch a glimpse of what looks like a tail?
Really?
Could mermaids actually be real? Most of us grew up thinking mermaids were just magical creatures from fairy tales. But what if I told you that sailors, explorers, and even Christopher Columbus reported seeing mermaids? And here's something even more amazing. Almost every culture around the world, from ancient Syria to modern Japan, has its own stories about these mysterious creatures. Isn't that strange? How did so many different cultures, separated by oceans, come up with such similar stories? Let's travel back to ancient Syria thousands of years ago. There was a beautiful goddess named Atargatis who fell in love with a human shepherd. Sadly, their love story ended in tragedy when Atargatis accidentally caused her beloved's death.
So sad.
Heartbroken, she threw herself into a lake, hoping to turn into a fish. But the magic only worked halfway, and she ended up with the upper body of a woman and the tail of a fish. This became the first recorded mermaid story in history. But here's something super interesting. Legends of half-human, half-fish creatures exist in so many cultures, even those that had no contact with each other. How could ancient African tribes and Japanese fishermen both come up with legends about mermaids? And these mermaids weren't always the friendly singing type we see in movies.
Watch the movie.
In fact, different cultures imagined mermaids in all sorts of ways. In Scandinavia, they had creatures called finfolk who could change their shape whenever they wanted. In Ireland, there were mermaids called marrows who wore magical caps that helped them breathe underwater, almost like a scuba tank. Isn't it strange how many cultures tried to figure out how mermaids could survive in the ocean? What were people seeing out there in the deep, dark water? Now, let's fast forward to more recent times. Do you remember that documentary about mermaids that was on Animal Planet? It convinced a lot of people that mermaids were real. Spoiler alert, it was actually fake, but tons of people believed it. And years ago, P.T. Barnum showed off a mermaid called the Fiji Mermaid, but it was just a monkey sewn onto a fish. Even though it was fake, huge crowds came to see it. Why? Because people are fascinated by mermaids, even today. And let's talk about something funny that science tells us. Remember Christopher Columbus, the famous explorer? He once wrote about seeing mermaids in the ocean, but scientists now think he was probably looking at a manatee. Yep, Columbus probably saw a round, blubbery sea cow and thought it was a mermaid. It's okay, Columbus. Being at sea for a long time can make you see things. But if mermaids were real, how would they actually work? Think about it. Where would their organs go? How would they handle the freezing temperatures of the deep sea? And how would they breathe underwater? Unless they have some secret biological scuba gear, it seems unlikely. Scientists say mermaids probably aren't real. Sorry to burst your bubble, but that doesn't make them any less interesting to imagine. Here's the craziest part. We've only explored about 20% of our oceans. That means there's still a huge mysterious world down there that we know almost nothing about. Scientists discover new species in the ocean all the time. So who knows what else might be lurking in the deep? Maybe not mermaids, but there could be other creatures we haven't even imagined yet.
Oh, wow.
So why do these stories of mermaids last for so long? Why do we keep telling them, generation after generation? Maybe it's because the ocean is still such a mysterious place, full of unknowns. Or maybe it's because mermaids remind us of our own connection to the sea. After all, humans came from the ocean a long time ago, even if we don't have tales to prove it.
Yeah, maybe.
In the end, maybe the real magic of mermaids isn't whether they're real or not, but how they connect people across time and cultures. These stories remind us that we all share the same wonder and curiosity about the mysteries of the deep. So, what do you think? Are there still secrets hiding in our oceans that could explain these ancient tales? Or is the real magic in how these stories bring us together, helping us wonder about the mysteries that lie beneath the waves?